Hello everyone and welcome to the 10th episode of Bootstrap version 5.3 tutorial series for beginners, form layout. If you want to give your form some structure, form inline to horizontal to custom grid implementations with form layout options, you are at the right episode. First of all, margin utilities are the easiest way to add some structure to forms. They provide basic grouping of labels, controls, optional form text, and form validation messaging. Let me show you what I mean. Here we have got VSCODE code as a code editor, and if you need to learn more about it, you can watch my VS series and find the link in the description below. Let me open our Explorer, and I'm gonna make a copy of this sample.html, and let's rename it as bootstrap form layout. Hit enter. And let's close our sample, and I am also going to close this Explorer, and let's select all the instances of this sample text, and I'm gonna rename it as say form layout. Hit save, and let me close this extension for now, and let's open this document in the browser with the help of our live server extension. Alright, so here we have got form layout.html. Let me resize the browser and the editor as well, so you may have a better view. Alright, so I'm gonna add here a couple of form controls, say with margin bottom -3, and inside that div let's have a label with a class of form label with content, say example label. I'm gonna wrap our editor, and let's scroll down all the way up and continue from there, and I am also going to add an input here with form control. Let's add a placeholder and the value would be within quotes example say text, and let's hit enter and hit save and see what we get here. So we have this form control, and let's go back to VS Code, and I'm gonna undo that, and let's keep this expression for you, and I'm gonna comment this one out, and let's this one work for us. Hit save, and let's copy this block of code, and what I'm gonna do is let's come here, and I'm gonna add in here example label 1, and this would be example label say 2. Hit save. So with the help of this margin utility, you can group your form controls. So now let's scroll all the way down, and let's add some room here. Alright, so secondly, if you want to create more complex forms, you can use grid classes as well, and if you need to learn more about grid system, bootstrap grid system, you can watch my bootstrap layout based video and find the link in the description below. Well, let's add a heading here, and I'm gonna add a text here, say form layout with a grid system. Hit save, and that's what we have here. Alright, now let's quickly add a row here, and inside row I'm gonna add a couple of columns. No, let's have only one column, and inside that column I'm going to add input with form control, and let's add a placeholder equals to within quotes say first name, and hit enter and see what we get. So that's what we have now. Now let's go back to VS Code, and I'm gonna undo that. Let's make a copy of this expression and comment this one out, and let's make this one work for us. And I am gonna select this column and make a copy, and let's change the placeholder for the second one as last name. It's safe. So that's how you can give your form a layout with using row or call classes. Let's scroll all the way down. Now what you can do is say, if you want to have control over the gutter width as well, the inline as block direction, you can use gutter modifier classes. So what you can do is, first let me add a heading here, and I'm gonna add here a text form hyphen gutters. By the way, the gutters are the space between the columns as we have right here. Now what I'm gonna do is, let's come here and I'm gonna copy this whole row or this block of code, and let's paste it right here, and let's go all the way up, hit save. So that's what we have right now. So if you want to increase or decrease this space, you can do that as well. Just come right here at row level and add here let me reset the gutter for now, hit save. And if you notice, we don't have any space between these two columns, and you can go from 0 to 5, say 5, hit save. That's the space now you have between these two columns, or we can have it say 3, hit save. Okay, so that's how you can control the gutter width between the columns. By the way, these things we have already discussed in our Bootstrap layouts episode, and if you want to learn layouting or grid system in detail, you can go and watch that video and find the link in the description below. And that is not the end of the world. Next we'll see that how you can create more complex layouts with the help of Bootstrap grid system. Here we'll only use column classes. So let's scroll all the way down, and let's add here a heading, and let's type here form hyphen layout with grid system. Alright, so let's move on. Now we'll discuss form layout with grid system in detail, where we'll use row and column, all of that. I'm gonna add here a row class with say gutter should be 3, and inside that div let's add call hyphen md hyphen 6 with label, and I'm gonna add here a class form hyphen label with a content say email, and let's add an input with form hyphen control, and let's add an attribute type should be email, and hit enter and see if everything is good. And let me resize, maximize the browser. Yes, that looks okay. So we have email, and what I'm gonna do is, let's copy this column, and I'm gonna make this for say select both the instances, and I'm gonna make this password. Alright, and let's capitalize the P for this one, hit save, and we have got this email and password. We actually do not get the actual idea of what's going on here. So if I maximize, you can see that we have a form with 2 columns sharing equal width, and that shouldn't be with the layout should be here from, let's close the DevTools and make this medium is greater than 768. Let's make it small. Save. Alright, now it starts to take shape. Let's keep it right there, and we'll need to decrease the size of our editor because, alright, so hopefully that will do. Okay, now let's move on, and this is something what we have right now. And now I am going to add another column that is going to be, let's copy, select this block of code, make a copy, and let's make this one, say, I'm not gonna make this, let's add here address. It's safe, and that goes to the next line, and let's make this 12, column 12. It's safe, and let's select this block of code and make a copy, and let's keep it for address. That should be address 1, and this one should be address 2. It's safe. So now our form starts to take shape, label and input, and I am also going to change the type of these form controls, say text. Alright, and after address 1, 2, I am going to select this block of code and make 3 copies, 1, 2 and 3. Alright, and let's go to the first one, address 2, address 2, hit save, address 1, address 2, so that is address 1, this is address 2, and then we have address 2, and I am going to call this a city. Hit save, so we get city, and let's make this the column to be 6. Alright, and let's go to the second one, and let's make this one state, and then this one will be for zip code. Hit save. Alright, and now what I'm gonna do is, let's make this one, the state should be as wide as 4, and the zip can be 2. Hit save, so they all fit in the same row. So we have got city, state and zip. And for state, what I'm gonna do is, let's add a select here. For state, I am going to remove this, cut this input, and let's add select with class form hyphen select, and inside that select, let's have a couple of options with an attribute value equals to, say, the number of the copies we are going to have, and we'll also have some content, say option colon followed by $, and let's make 3 copies. Hit enter and see if it works. Alright, so we get that as well, and I am going to undo that, and let's make a copy. Let's comment this one out and make this one work for you. Hit save and save. Alright, and I think we also need to add some gutter to X and Y axis, so let's go all the way up to the row, and I am going to add in here gutter class with, say, 2, and see if it works. Alright, so that adds some margin, some decent margin here. You can also make this 3. It's safe. Alright, so that looks fine now. So we have added city, state and zip, and after that let's have a checkbox as well. So let's make a copy of this block of code, and I am going to add in here. First of all, let's make this column as wide as 12. Hit save. We get that, and I am going to change the label to say check me out. It's safe, and we get that. And now let's change your input to checkbox, and I am also going to change the position of both the elements. Hit save, and let's change the class for our checkbox. That should be form hyphen check hyphen input. Hit save, and we get very nice and decent checkbox here as well. And let's keep it checked always by adding checked attribute to this input so we can see what's happening here. Alright, and after that I am going to make a copy of this div, and let's cut everything from here, the input as well as the label, and let's add here a button with button hyphen say primary, and let's add a content here as well, say sign in, and see what we get. It's safe, and we get the button here as well for sign in. I'm gonna save that again. So that's what we have, your form layout with grid system. Hope you liked it. And then we have something pretty similar to this, is going to be a horizontal form that you can create with a grid by adding row class to form groups. And remember to use call, breakpoint, and size classes to specify the width of your labels, and you can wrap form controls with the same. And be sure to add call form label to your labels as well as their vertical standard with their associated form control. So let's go ahead, and I am going to add a heading here and type here horizontal form. It's safe, and let's see what we have. Alright, and I am going to quickly, let's scroll all the way up. Let's quickly add in here a form, and inside a form let's have row with margin bottom 3, and inside that row let's have label with column hyphen small hyphen 2 with call hyphen form hyphen label, and let's add content here as email. And then I am going to add another div with a class of say call hyphen small hyphen 10, and that should give us a div call small email. Let me see, we have email label div. No, that's not giving us, so let's add plus sign and see if we get that. So we have live update here as well, and we get another div having a class of column small 10, and inside that div let's have an input with a class of form hyphen control. Let's add here type equals to email. Hit enter and see what we get. So we get here row with margin bottom having label and a div, and that label also has column small 2 with call form label class, and then we have another div having call small 10 with an input, having a class of that should have a class of form control. Let's undo that and let's add a period here. I mistakenly add / let's add a period. Alright, so that should hit save and we get this email here. Now we have got two columns, one for the label and second for the form controls. Alright, let's undo that and let's make a copy of this expression, comment this one out, and let's make this one work for us. Hit save. Let's scroll all the way down, and before this form ending tag, I'm gonna give it some room. Alright, so now let's go ahead and I am going to add a password for form as well. So let's come back here and let's select this row and let's make a copy and let's change this content to say password, and let's make this P as capital. Hit save. We have email password. Now I am going to add some more elements to this form. So let's go all the way down and I'm gonna add here a field set having a class of row with margin bottom 3, field set with row and margin bottom 3. Alright, and inside that div let's have legend tag with a class of column hyphen small hyphen 2 with call form label hyphen label call form label, and it is also recommended to add some padding to the top. I mean reset the padding to the top. So pt hyphen 0, and let's add a content here, radios. So here we'll have another label as radios, and then we'll have another div having column hyphen small hyphen 10, and see what we get. Hit save. So we have this row, and let's go all the way up. So I'm gonna undo that. Everything looks fine. Let's comment this one out, and this one worked for us. Hit save. Radios. So now let's add some more content to our second column, and what we are going to do is let's come in here and add a form hyphen check, and inside that div let's have input followed by period form hyphen check hyphen input, input form hyphen check hyphen input, and let's add type equals to radio, and I'm also gonna add a label followed by period and add a class here, form hyphen check hyphen label, and let's add a content here, say radio, and let's add a number of copies that will be represented by the $sign. And what I'm gonna do is let's wrap it in parentheses, and let's make 3 copies. Hit enter, hit save, and we get 3 radios. I'm gonna undo that, make a copy, and let's comment this one out and save. So what I can do is let's add some variations to our radios. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this one checked always. Alright, and let's go to our third form check, and this input I'm going to make this disabled as well as checked. It's safe. So now we have got some variation in our video elements, and then let's add a checkbox to our horizontal form. So for that, let's go all the way, scroll all the way up, and here I'm gonna quickly add another row with margin bottom -3, and inside that div let's have column -small -10, and I am going to offset our checkbox. Offset say small -2. Let's add hyphen here as well. Alright, and inside that div let's have form -check, and let's add an input here with form -check input with an attribute say type equals to checkbox. Type should be checkbox, and then I'm gonna add in here a label having a class of form -check label. Sorry, that should be LABLE. Alright, form check label, and let's add some content, say example checkbox. Hit enter and see what we get. Alright, so we have say if we did not add here this offset, so we wouldn't have this type of layout. So let's go back to VS Code, and I'm gonna undo that. Let's make a copy of the expression, comment this one out, and let's make this one work for us. Hit save, and let's make this one checked also. Sorry, checked, not working. Yes, I added this to the label. Let's cut that from here and add it to our input element. Hit save, so that is always checked. Now let's scroll down, and as far as label sizing is concerned, be sure to use call form label small or call form label large to your labels or legends to correctly follow the size of form control large and form control small. First, let's add some heading here, and let's add a text here, form -label sizing. Right, it's safe. We get a heading here, and I am going to copy. Let's go all the way up here, and form, that is form checkbox. This is something I do not want. Let's go up and try to find, let's find the heading here, copy, and alright, we have this here, and hit escape and see what we get here. So we have, let's copy this block of code and go all the way down, and let's paste that in here. Hit save, and we get this element here. So we have here a label and an input. Let's add a comment here. After our heading, I am going to add a comment here, say this would be large, and I'm gonna comment this out, and to add a, let's make this one small. Alright, and let's go to our label and call small to call form label, and I am going to add here call hyphen form hyphen label hyphen small represents the small size. And you will also need to add your sizing to your input. Let's copy this base class and paste that here and add say small. It's safe, and we do not get what we want. Let me maximize the, so call form label is small. Sorry, we did not add space here. Hit save, and that should work now. Alright, and I am also going to add a value here, or a placeholder. The value can be small. Hit save. So that is our small form control, and let's get back here and make a copy of this block of code. Alright, and let's add a comment here, say large, and I'm gonna comment this one out. And to make this large, just change this abbreviation here as LG for control as well. That should be LG as well, and I'm gonna change the placeholder as large. Hit save, and we get small and large form controls. Alright, now let's scroll all the way down and let's talk a little more about column sizing. The grid system allows you to place any number of columns within a row. Now let's talk a little more about column sizing. The grid system allows you to place any number of columns within a row. They'll split the available width equally between them. You may also pick a subset of your columns to take up more or less space, while the remaining columns equally split the rest. What I mean, let me show you. I am going to add a heading here with, say, column sizing. It's safe. Alright, so now let's add here the elements that we need. Say I'm gonna add in here a row. Inside that row, let's have parentheses, and we'll have 3 copies. And I'm gonna add in here column hyphen small, and inside that div, let's have an input having a form hyphen control with placeholder. The value would be within quotes, say column followed by dollar, and I think that should work. Hit save and see what we get here. So we have got 3 columns not working as expected. Sorry, let's undo that, and we have a typo mistake here. Let's undo that, and that should be form. Alright, and let's do it again. Hit save. Alright, so we get 3 columns sharing equal width just because we have added only call class. So I am going to undo that, and let's keep this expression for you as commented out, and let's make this one work for us. So what we decided, say still you can change the sizing of any of the column and rest will take care of itself. Say what you can do is just come to this first column. Why we do not get the content of our columns? Column 1, let me wrap our browser, our editor, and I don't see the content placeholder. Let me maximize the browser and we get, alright, we only added a placeholder here. Fine, so what I'm gonna do is, say if you want to increase the size of your first column, say 7, hit save, and the rest take care of themselves. And after that column sizing, we are going to move on to auto sizing. Say if you want to have your columns to take as much space as needed, you can do that as well by adding call order class to your divs. Let me show you what I mean. So for that, let's scroll all the way down, and I am going to add a heading here with auto sizing, and let's quickly add in here some elements. I am going to add here a form followed by row with margin bottom not 3. Let's have align hyphen items hyphen center to align your items to the center, and inside that div let's have, I guess we'll have 5 copies, and I'll get back here in a little bit. Let's add a column with auto, and we'll also add some content here, say column followed by dollar to represent the number of copies that we will have, and see what we get. Hit save. We have this auto sizing, example 1 2 3 4 and 5 columns. Now one after another we'll add elements to these columns. Let's get back to VS Code. I'm gonna undo that, and let's make a copy of this expression, and let's make this one work for us. Let's scroll all the way down, and now let's address to this first column. Alright, and I'm going to add some content here. Let me resize the editor so you may see a better view. Now let's have a label here with VISUALY-HIDDEN class, and let's add a content here as name, then input followed by form hyphen control with an attribute place holder equals to, say, foo and bar. Alright, hit enter, and that gives us a label and an input. Hit save, and I'm gonna resize the editor, and that provides us with this form control. And I think I did not add a label here. That's there, but visually hidden. Alright, so let's maximize the browser, and I am going to undo whatever we have done so far, and let's make a copy and comment this one out, and let's come all the way here and make this one work for us. Alright, so we have added name. After that, I am going to add an input group here. So let's address to our next column, and let's add in here, or what I'm gonna do is let's make a copy of this div, and let's remove this div for now. Let's keep it right there for now, and let's make this one, the label would be, first I'm going to cut this expression from here, and the label would be, say, user name, that is visually hidden, and we get this input and placeholder would be username. And I am also going to add another div here, say input hyphen group hyphen text, and let's add a content here at input group text. Alright, and now let's select both the element, and I am going to wrap them in input hyphen group class. Alright, let's remove this extra line. Now hit save. I am going to resize the browser, and this is what we get, and see what went wrong. Let's go back to our editor and see what we did wrong. So we have username, then alright, so here is a typo mistake, so let's make this input. Hit save and let's resize the browser. We get this foobar and username. And let's add one more thing to our form. Call auto, and let's add in here the breakpoint, call small hyphen auto. Hopefully it works now. Still doesn't work. Okay, it's not working at all. Visually hidden. So the auto sizing is not working, call auto is not working, form action, and we have the form closing tag. Inside form we have another form. That, I guess that's an issue. We have form tag outside, closing form tag outside another form, so that may be the issue. Let's take this block of code. I'm gonna cut that from here, and let's go out of this form, paste, save. That should, alright, so that was an issue. Now the code is working. Hope you got the idea. We added another form inside a form, so that was causing an issue. Alright, now let's fix the code, and I am going to remove or I'm not gonna prettify it now. Hit save, and let's add some room after this form tag, and let's copy everything from here, cut, close the file, don't save, and let's paste that here. Hit save, and we should get what we should get. Now let's resize our browsers, and this is what we get now. Alright, now let's go ahead. What I have done is we have added an input group. Now let's go to our third column, and I am going to add here a select followed by period having form hyphen select class, and inside that we are going to have options with attribute value equals to say $, and let's have a content say opt colon followed by $, and let's have maybe 3 copies. Hit enter and see what we get. So we have another element here having call auto width. Let's get back to VS Code, and I'm gonna undo, and let's copy the expression, and let's make this one worked for us. Hit enter and save. We get option, and then I am going to have a checkbox. So go to our third column and let's add a checkbox here. So for that I am going to have, say, form hyphen check, and inside that let's have input with a class of form hyphen check hyphen input. Let's fix this input and let's make the type to be checkbox, and let's add a label here followed by a class. Let me fix the spelling. Label, and the class would be form hyphen check hyphen label. Alright, form hyphen check hyphen label, LABEL. Alright, and then I am going to add a content here, say remember me, and see what we get. It's save. So we have this little checkbox, and say if we did not add here, let's go all the way up to the form level, and say if we did not add it here, this align item center, we wouldn't get our elements aligned properly. So I'm gonna cut this for now. Hit save. Now if you notice that it is not centrally aligned, the checkbox is not centrally aligned, so I am going to undo and hit save, and now we do not have any space or any margin at the bottom. So to add, let's get back here, and I am going to add here a getter class, say 3, save. So that adds pretty nice and decent, or that's breaking the alignment, the horizontal alignment. So let's add GY to 3, only Y. So that, I guess, so it's not centering. Alright, we do not have we have made it auto sizing, that's why we have this space here. So let's make this only G-3. Hit save, and now let's go ahead, let's go all the way down, and after checkbox let's keep our checkbox always checked. So for that I'm gonna add here checked attribute. Hit save. Alright, so now let's go to our next column, column number 4, and I think I added one extra column. So after checkbox I'm gonna remove this div. Let's cut that, and now let's add a button to this final column, to this last column, say button followed by button hyphen primary, and the content would be submit. Hit save, and that's how you can have horizontal layout by adding call order class to your columns. And if I maximize the browser, so your complete form is horizontal now. Now after that you can also remix call order with specific column sizes. Say if you want to increase the size of these 2 columns, you can do that as well. Let me resize the browser. Alright, so let's get back to VS Code, and I am going to remove these extra lines, and let's copy this block of code, and I am going to, let's go to matching pair, and I am going to add a heading here. So call auto, call hyphen auto with specific sizing. Hit save. So we get the same. If you want to increase the size any of your columns, you can still do that. Let's come back in here and say if you want this column as wide as 7, just come here and make this 7. Hit save. So that's equals to 7. And if you want this column, the username, as wide as 3 columns, you can do that as well. So let's go to our second column, which is username, and let's replace this keyword auto with the number you want, say 4. Hit save. Now your second column is as wide as 4 columns. That's how you can mix auto sizing with a specific sizing. Now at the final note, to create a responsive horizontal layout, you can use row calls auto, and always remember to add breakpoint for responsive layout, meaning that if you do not want to add these call auto classes as we did for our auto sizing, you can replace all this heck just by adding one class, which is row calls auto. Let me show you what I mean. For that, let's copy this block of code, and alright, and let's go to its matching pair. Alright, and let's add here a heading, say row hyphen calls hyphen auto, and I'm going to make some changes here. Let's come here and select all the instances of call dash auto, alright, and let's select this one as well, and I am going to change all of them to say call hyphen 12. Hit save and see what we get. So that's what we have now. That's a kind of trick that you can have this form as inline by adding only one class at row level. Let's go back to VS Code. Let me resize the browser, and let's go all the way here. So that's kind of easy to go to the matching pair, and let's come in here, and I am going to add here a class, say row hyphen calls hyphen say md hyphen auto. Now as I hit save, you notice no, it did not work. Inline forms row calls auto, align items center, that should be, make it say small. Hit save. Still not working. Is that a small? Alright, so this is a small right here. So that was the issue of the breakpoint. Alright, so that's how you can make your life a little easier by adding row calls auto at row level to have row calls auto. Or let me add another keyword to our comment and heading, say row calls auto. Let's select both, and I'm gonna add in here inline form. Hit save, and we get inline form really very easily by adding just one class, which is row calls breakpoint auto. And that was all about Bootstrap form layout. And if you have any question, just feel free to comment below, and hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.